Second key to developing your child's full potential is you must recognize your child's primary responsibility is to learn obedience. Now let me repeat that. You need to recognize that your child's primary responsibility while on this planet, living under your roof, is to learn obedience. Listen to Ephesians 6:1. Children, it is your Christian duty to obey your parents, for this is the right thing to do. And then it's spelled out. Respect your father and mother. It's the first commandment that has a promise added, so that all may go well with you and you may live a long time in the land. See, I've got all kind of passages in Scripture about what leaders should do, and servants and slaves, and all kind of commands to all kind of different people. Here's an interesting thing. I can only find one command for children. What is it? Obey. The singular thing God asks of a child is, you must learn to obey. Now, let me give you a little interesting highlight. The word obey in the New Testament is hupo, to mean under, akuo. And we get our word acoustic. You get the idea? Or to hear. Hupo, akuo. The idea is to be under the hearing of. Obedience is not about us being big, strong parents making little kids do what we say because we said it, and they do it sheerly out of fear. Obedience is teaching your child to be under the listening of your voice so that when you speak, they obey. And they don't just obey because they have to, although that's true, but they obey or submit to your authority out of reverence for you, out of love, out of dependency and trust. You see, genuine obedience, whether it's me with God or you with God or your children with you, is when they submit to your word, when they listen to you, when they do what you say because they trust you and they want to express their love to you. Now, early on, there's times where they just need to learn to obey because you say so. But it's very important that the child's primary goal in life is to learn to obey. Listen to how Jesus describes the correlation between love and obedience. In John 14:21, he says, whoever has my commands and keeps them obeys me. He is the one who loves me. He who loves me will be loved by my Father, and I too will love him and show myself to him. I believe James Dobson really has it right, especially when kids are small. Our goal is to break their will without crushing their spirit. In an environment of love, your kids can learn to obey the first time. Third key, as you go in this process, is to remember that obedience is a developmental process. You don't just do that once with your child and boom, they obey you forever. And you don't start when they're 12 and you've never done something when they're 2 and expect them to catch it. Obedience is a developmental process. It takes perseverance and time, and you hang with it, and you must understand that kids develop in different ways at different times. I mean, even Jesus, look at the passage here, Hebrews 5:8. Although he was a son, speaking of Christ, he learned obedience from what he suffered. Jesus was perfect humanity, and yet he learned. He had to learn. How did he learn? He learned through suffering. Living as a perfect human being in a fallen world, he learned or grew. In fact, Luke tells us in Luke 2:52 that Jesus grew. That's a process, isn't it? How did he grow? In wisdom, in stature, and in favor with God and favor with men. And so this whole idea of learning obedience, there's intellectual growth, wisdom. There's physical growth, he grew in stature. There's spiritual growth, he grew in favor with God. And then there's social growth. He grew in favor with men. It's a process, even for the one who came here and was perfect, the only perfect human being that will ever live on this planet.